In a quiet suburban neighborhood just outside of Austin, Texas, the evening of October 21, 2025, had taken an unexpected turn. The clock ticked past 11:08 p.m. PKT, which translated to a little after 1 p.m. local time in the heart of the Lone Star State. The kitchen of the Henderson family home, usually a hub of warmth and the scent of freshly baked cornbread, now lay in disarray. Shattered plates and glasses littered the glossy black floor, a chaotic mosaic of white porcelain and splintered crystal. The remnants of what might have been a lunch, crumbs of biscuits and a smear of butter, mingled with the debris, a silent testament to the sudden upheaval. At the center of the storm stood 8-year-old Emily Henderson, her pigtails slightly askew as tears streamed down her freckled cheeks. Clad in a bright orange dress dotted with white polka dots, she clutched a phone to her ear with one hand while the other supported her baby brother, 2-year-old Liam, who was nestled snugly in a purple baby carrier strapped across her small chest. Liam, oblivious to the chaos, slept peacefully, his tiny head resting against her shoulder, a red arrow in the image highlighting his serene face amidst the turmoil. Emily's voice trembled as she spoke into the phone, her words a mix of desperation and innocence. "Mommy, I didn't mean to. The plates just fell, and Liam started crying, and, please come home." The scene had unfolded quickly. Earlier that afternoon, their mother, Sarah Henderson, had been called into an emergency meeting at her job downtown, leaving Emily in charge with strict instructions to keep an eye on Liam and avoid any mischief. Their father, Mark, a real estate agent with a penchant for sharp green suits, had been on a call with a client when the accident happened. Now, he stood near the French doors leading to the backyard, his back turned to the kitchen, still engrossed in his conversation. His polished brown shoes clicked against the floor as he paced, oblivious to the mess his daughter was trying to navigate. "Yes, Mr. Thompson, I can assure you the property on Elm Street is still available. We can schedule a viewing for tomorrow," he said, his tone smooth and professional, unaware of the crisis unfolding just a few feet away. Emily had been attempting to prepare a snack for herself and Liam, a simple task that involved reaching for a plate from the cabinet. The stack, precariously balanced, had toppled the moment her small fingers brushed against it, sending a cascade of dishware crashing to the ground. The noise had startled Liam, who let out a wail before settling back into sleep, exhausted from the brief outburst. The kitchen, with its sleek white cabinets and subway tile backsplash, now looked like a battlefield, the once pristine space marred by the unintended chaos of a child's earnest effort. As Emily sniffled into the phone, her eyes darted toward the living room where the faint hum of the television played a rerun of a popular cartoon. She had been watching it earlier, her laughter filling the house, but now the sound felt distant, a stark contrast to the tension gripping her. The Henderson home, a 2-story craftsman with a wraparound porch, was the kind of place where neighbors often stopped by with casseroles or to borrow a cup of sugar. Today, however, the curtains were drawn, and the usual hum of community life was absent, leaving Emily to face the mess alone. Her mother's voice crackled through the phone, faint but firm. "Emily, honey, stay calm. I'm leaving the office now. Just sit tight, okay? And don't touch the broken pieces, Daddy will help when he's off the phone." Sarah's words were meant to soothe, but the distance between her downtown office and their suburban haven felt insurmountable to Emily. The 8-year-old nodded, even though her mother couldn't see, and lowered the phone slightly, her gaze fixed on the shards glittering under the overhead lights. Mark, still pacing, adjusted his tie and glanced briefly over his shoulder. The sight of the kitchen finally registered, and his brow furrowed. "Mr. Thompson, I'll need to call you back," he said abruptly, ending the call with a polite but hurried goodbye. Turning fully, he took in the scene, his daughter's tear-streaked face, the sleeping baby, the wreckage at their feet. "Emily, what happened?" he asked, his voice a mix of concern and exasperation as he stepped carefully over the debris. "I was just getting a plate for snacks," Emily stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "It all fell, and I didn't know what to do." Her hands trembled as she adjusted Liam's carrier, ensuring he remained secure. Mark sighed, running a hand through his neatly combed hair, the green suit jacket shifting slightly with the motion. He knelt beside her, careful not to step on the broken glass, and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's okay, kiddo. Accidents happen. Let's get this cleaned up before Mom gets home." The task ahead seemed daunting. The kitchen, with its open layout and gleaming appliances, was the heart of their home, where family dinners and holiday gatherings took place. The sight of it in such disarray felt almost sacrilegious to Mark, who prided himself on maintaining a picture-perfect household to impress his clients. He stood and retrieved a broom and dustpan from the pantry, his movements deliberate as he began sweeping up the larger pieces. Emily watched, still clutching the phone, her tears slowing as she saw her father take charge. As Mark worked, his mind wandered to the day's earlier events. He had been showing a prospective buyer a sprawling ranch-style home on the outskirts of town when Sarah's call came through. The client, an older man with a penchant for storytelling, had delayed their tour with tales of his youth, leaving Mark rushing to return home. Now, he regretted not being there when Emily needed him most. The green suit, a bold choice for a Tuesday afternoon, suddenly felt like a costume, a reminder of the professional life that sometimes pulled him away from his family. Emily, meanwhile, felt a pang of guilt. She had promised her mother she would be responsible, a big girl looking after her little brother. The crash of the plates had shattered more than just dishware, it had broken her confidence. She glanced at Liam, his tiny chest rising and falling with each breath, and whispered an apology, though she knew he couldn't hear. The baby carrier, a hand-me-down from a neighbor, had been a lifesaver, keeping Liam close while she tried to manage the kitchen. Now, it felt like a burden, adding weight to her already heavy heart. The sound of a car engine interrupted the quiet. Sarah's silver SUV pulled into the driveway, tires crunching against the gravel path that wound around the house. She emerged quickly, her heels clicking against the pavement as she hurried to the front door. Dressed in a navy blazer and skirt, her hair pulled into a tight bun, she looked every bit the capable project manager she was. But her face softened as she stepped into the kitchen, taking in the scene. "Oh, Emily," she said, dropping her briefcase by the door and rushing to her daughter's side. "I'm sorry, Mommy," Emily sobbed, burying her face in Sarah's shoulder. Sarah knelt, pulling both Emily and Liam into a gentle embrace, careful not to jostle the sleeping baby. "It's okay, sweetheart. We'll fix it together." Mark joined them, the broom still in hand, and offered a sheepish smile. "Looks like I picked the wrong time for a call," he admitted, earning a small laugh from Sarah. The family set to work, a quiet teamwork emerging from the chaos. Sarah fetched a trash bag for the debris, while Mark continued sweeping. Emily, under strict instructions to stay clear of the sharp edges, gathered the unbroken items scattered on the counter. The kitchen slowly began to take shape again, the mess giving way to order. As they worked, the tension eased, replaced by the familiar rhythm of their family dynamic. Outside, the Austin afternoon sun cast long shadows across the yard, where a pumpkin sat on the porch, a nod to the upcoming Halloween festivities. The neighborhood remained still, the occasional bark of a dog the only sound beyond their home. Inside, the Henderson family found solace in their shared effort, the broken plates a temporary setback in the tapestry of their lives. By the time the kitchen was restored, Emily's tears had dried, and Liam stirred, his soft coos filling the air. The day, though marked by mishap, ended with a renewed sense of unity, the kind that only a family could forge from the fragments of an ordinary afternoon.